Hey Dan, Kat and Julia here with Turner Web Services, and in this video we're going to be talking keyword research. So we're going to look at a few different aspects of this. We're going to look at how Google actually gets the pages of your website in front of the right potential clients. We're going to go through some of the keywords research that we've completed for you, and we're going to be chatting about how you can use keywords effectively to get more traffic on your website. So first up, let's have a look at how Google actually uses keywords on your website to get your pages of your site in front of the right potential clients. Google has a few different algorithms, and one of the algorithms that it uses to kind of almost play matchmaker really with getting your pages in front of the right potential clients is called Hummingbird. Now, Hummingbird is a natural language processor, and what it does is look at all the different aspects of the page, like the text-based aspects, to work out the context and intent. So I'm going to show you a little bit how that works because Google has access to that online, and I've put in some of your text into that, and we're going to walk through that shortly. So it's really important though to write in natural sentences, and also to have alt text in any of the stills photos you have, because the algorithm looks at the titles, the headings, the subheadings, all the alt text, everything on the page really. So if you wanted to try this tool out yourself, it is available online, it's free. Just go to cloud.google.com/natural language. And what I've done here into this little API is paste some text into this from your homepage. So we're just going to click Analyze and look at what's come up for that. So all these coloured words here that are highlighted are entities, and the algorithm is looking at the relationship between the entities to kind of work out the context and intent. There's also a score that it's put in each of the entities, and the salience score here is really important because the salience shows importance or centrality of an entity to the entire document. So really the things that are appearing up high should be your main keywords, and we can see here that they're not, and that's a problem. So as much as it's really important to have enough text on the page that Google can work out what you do and who it should show you to, it's about the order of the words in that. So it's not about doing anything in a spammy way or keyword stuffing, but often it's about clarity and really explaining yourself clearly. So if we look at the highest is about love, which is just other. So story is work of art, has actually got any of your keywords on here. So Los Angeles for location, and there's a wiki article leads into that, so that's good. But really from this text, it's not really getting a clear idea. Whereas if you had, for example, just as a simple sentence difference, and we click Analyze again. So we've got LA as a location, CineStory films has come up other, so really we want that to be brand. So if we look at your let's just rework this a bit. So you see, changing the location, changing the mix of text has an impact on altering the entities that are showing up here. So I would encourage you to rework this. I think there's not really enough text on here. If we just go back to kind of what you'd put in and look at the categories that you're in family and relationship category, whereas what should come up here is photo and video services and business services as well, and also weddings. So there should be 4 categories in this, and this is showing that Google's not got a clear enough idea of what you're doing really. The sentiment is positive, so that's good. But really the text on your homepage needs work. So I'd encourage you to add at least 500 words worth that just clearly explain what you do and who you'll offer those services to, really. So if we just head over to your workbook now and have a look at your keyword research that we've done. So your core keyword was wedding photographer Los Angeles. There's about 400 searches a month for that, and it's fairly low difficulty. In fact, if we put this into the natural language processor and let's just have a play about this a bit more. So if you had this at the top of the page as your H1 heading, and then you had for example. So right away, we've got wedding videographers, wedding videography company as an organisation, and wedding videographer, salient score of 0.22. So right away, that's kind of the mix there in your top three has completely kind of changed the way that this has been perceived. And if you look at categories now, you're in 4 of the correct categories. So you're in video services, you're in weddings, you're in marriage. These are the 4 that your business should be in, really. So you see, it's just a simple change like that. So it's quality rather than quantity. What we do find is that when you've got more text and you can discuss more areas and name drop some venues and include a wider range of things that would kind of reflect your brand, your niche, and that type of thing. It's really important, but often it's the clarity of the text that you've got and making it super clear what you do and who for. So simple, I mean, that would be like a H1 heading, and just that sentence is made a big difference there. So I'd really encourage you to rework that, and I think at minimum maybe adding just something like that onto your page. You know, that shouldn't really have any kind of significant impact on the design, but it would have significant impact on what you could rank for. And I would be having it here. So maybe even, I think ideally it would be above the fold. So maybe make a bit of a space between these two things. And you can include the photography terms too. I mean, I've not even included those in there yet. But anyway, welcome back to your keyword research. So your secondary keyword was the LA wedding photography. And there's higher search volume for that, about 500 searches a month. And if we look at the backlinks of your competitors for this term, you want to be aiming to be having more links coming into your site than your competitors do. At a base minimum, we'd say aim to have more than 100, but it is about quality rather than quantity, and they do take time to build up. If we look at the videography, it tends to be less competitive with that. So I think it's going to be a little bit, you're going to be able to rank better for this. Faster probably than the photography side of things. Now, when we look at the different locations that you provided, you'll see here that the keyword, the search volume monthly is really pretty low. People don't tend to search for local areas. I mean, they've got Beverly Hills there, but it's really quite competitive. So I wouldn't bother targeting that for that type of volume. What we would recommend is searching for wedding venues instead. I mean, looking at Malibu as well. Less than 10 searches a month. Orange County is a couple of hundred, so that is a bit stronger. That probably would be worth maybe making like a silo page for. But when we compare that to some of the venues, it's not massively, it's not a massive volume really. and it's not too bad for videographer as well. So yeah, I would actually recommend having a silo page for that, I think. Because the difficulty level is fairly easy, and there's not a huge amount of backlinks from some of your competitors there. So that's going to make it a little bit easier for you. So when we look at some of the venues you gave us, so Rocky Oaks there, see this is a bit more like it, 700 searches a month, that's pretty good going, and it's not that competitive either. So again, that's going to make it easier for you to be able to rank there and start kind of having a bit of a presence for that keyword. Backlinks aren't particularly high in some of your competitors. So Greystone Mansion, some awesome volume as well. This is one that I definitely, if you don't already have a blog post, I would be really recommending blogging for that. You know, you can create a blog post without having photographed a wedding there before. It's not essential. As long as you're transparent and, you know, you're not trying to mislead anyone, you can just use photos from wherever. You know, if you just explain that you do want to shoot there, then you're still gonna be able to rank for that keyword. This had lower volume, but still worth, you know, if you like that venue, even if the volume's a bit lower, it's still worth kind of creating some content so that you can rank there. Also, it's going to be much easier to rank from that than some of the other kind of more competitive ones. The backlink profiles of your competitors here are really pretty low, so that should be a fairly easy win. And then this one's 250, so that's for wedding cost, though, which isn't really relevant, and people weren't searching. The volume wasn't as high for just the venue and wedding, but there's no point optimizing it for wedding cost, because that's the sort of thing that people would be looking for the venue site itself for, really. They're not going to be looking for a wedding photography site for that. And then Hummingbird Nest. That was one that, again, really low difficulty in terms of ranking for that, and quite a reasonable amount of search traffic there, potential. Definitely worth creating a blog post for that if you've not already. And it's worth having a look at all the sites that rank in the top 10 results for that already, and kind of having a look and see what features they've included for the different search terms there, and kind of looking at how you can really outperform them, you know, with creating content yourself. And then, yeah, so I think that's all of them there. So as you can see, I mean, most of the search volume there was under 1,000. What we would recommend doing is creating a couple of posts that will really help kind of drive some traffic to your site. So the tool that I helped you install in the onboarding meeting, which was the Keywords Everywhere extension, will mean that you can kind of do some research yourself and perhaps create 2 or 3 articles on your site that are more about generating traffic and generating as many visitors and raising your brand awareness and getting your brand out there a little bit more in a kind of non-salesy type way. And we recommend kind of creating some advice articles. Now, what you create articles about depends what you're passionate about, really. There's loads of different aspects of filming weddings that, you know, you can create some similar things, whether it's like tips for makeup for photography or planning type things. I mean, if we look at, say, wedding planning tips, for example, you know, there's 2,500 searches a month for that. And there's some other ideas suggested down here. So I would kind of encourage you to use that tool, do a bit of research and create some articles and then market those across all social media channels. Okay, so hope that clarifies things in relation to keyword research. We can tick this off now. I'll be emailing you your video. So next on your project will be your site optimization. Now David is going to do that for you next week or the week after. So we will be in touch with that in the kind of fairly soon. In the meantime, I would really encourage you to just improve the clarity of what you do on your homepage, because as you can see from this language processor tool, Google isn't really sure about what you do, and a simple sentence like this will help clarify things, and it's going to make a big difference from your ranking point of view. Okay, any questions? The team and myself will be more than happy to help. and I'll speak to you soon. All right, thanks a lot, Dan. Cheers.